I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. I just realized I have some Christmas music going on in the background, but I don't want to reach over and turn it off right now, so you're going to have to listen to it. You might not be able to hear it anyway. But it's Christmas stroll weekend, so why wouldn't we have that on?
That's right.
All right, at the board meeting this week, the board did the following. First off, we had some visitors under public comment. Actually, it was more under announcements. Jennifer Cohen and Melissa Murphy came to the meeting and presented us, it's out in the other room, with the signed legislation for the Board of Selectmen's name change to Select Board. And they, along with Selectman Christy Ferrantella, Select Member Christy Ferrantella, attended a sort of a reenacted signing of it, something like that, a couple weekends ago, with Representative Fernandez and Senator Sear. So they brought it in, and there was a nice round of applause, and so that was great. So we did that right at the beginning of the meeting. Then the board was going to have some committee appointments, Conservation Commission and some others, and they agreed that they are actually going to keep the Conservation Commission applications open for another couple of weeks. Anyone who's applied by December 18th will have the opportunity to speak on their application at that board meeting, and then the board will make appointments on January 8th, which is their first meeting in January. All right, we also had...
How are we doing with those, with the board meetings? I mean, is there a reason why we haven't filled that?
Concom?
Yeah.
Well, it's a sort of a recent vacancy, and we just haven't filled it because we are waiting for, we were advertising and seeking to get applicants.
A popular
Only a couple people have applied so far, so I think the board would like a wider range of applicants, just try to gauge interest and stuff like that. So yeah, you would think more people would apply. So hopefully they will, given the additional time. What about the other boards?
Is that the only one, or are they everything else?
Well, that's I would say one of the big five that people typically sort of almost line up to be on. Almost, not quite. Unfortunate situation has occurred with regard to the July 4th fireworks.
Yeah, that was a bit of a throwback. Shocker.
Long story short, even though we said we wanted to have the fireworks, and in fact we've told the whole world we're going to be having the fireworks on July 4th, 2020, our contractor cannot do it that date because we were too late coming in to say we want to be back to the 4th because we've been on the 5th for a little while now. So we're going to do them on the 3rd, which is a Friday, and as sort of luck would have it, it is the observed holiday for people who work during the week. A Saturday holiday will fall on a Friday. I mean, you'd have things be closed on Friday. So we're going to be doing it the 3rd, rain date the 5th, unfortunately. But in 2021, we are in for July 4th. We had a couple of real estate items. The Cannabis Advisory Committee Chair, Barry Rector, came in and gave the board an update about what that committee is up to. And they are working on some warrant articles that involve cultivation, micro businesses, and craft cooperatives, none of which are allowed right now in our town code. So they are looking at putting articles in to allow those things and provide some sort of regulatory framework for them and identify where they would be allowed. So they're working on that. We had a public hearing to consider increasing sewer user fees. I know nobody likes to hear about fee increases, and this has been talked about for several months now. We did a rate model study over the past year or so for sewer rates, and we are trying to flatten the impact on people, but we have a lot of sewer projects coming up, and it's mostly the very large ones that, $10, $15, $20 million plus projects that would be all or partially funded by the taxpayers, but upgrades of the system and things like that are typically handled by the user fees. So those will be going,
much.
Well, it's about 10% increase-ish. So, you can figure that out with your bill. It's not massive. I say it's not massive, and somebody listening will say, yes, it is. So, yeah. And somebody else listening will say, No one likes a fee increase, let's face it. Nobody.
Not when they go up every other year, though. That's the problem.
Well, and this hasn't gone up for about 5 years, so.
So we won't see another increase for another 5 years?
Well, maybe, or maybe we will be increasing a little bit more frequently. We're trying to work that out. And so these fees will go up in January, but we're also working on a more of a tiered system to flatten out the impact even more so that it's more based on usage.
So this is separate from, this is user fees. This
is user fees.
Isn't like increasing the sewer system, the amount of money we're gonna have to spend to build out the sewer system.
No,
That's
it's the
something
system, it's as existing. It's not expansions of the system.
Right.
These projects that we need to fund with the user fees.
Right.
All right, so that happened. The Chief Technology Officer, our Chief Technology Officer, Karen McGonigal, gave the board an update on which we have asked her to establish, which has been in effect for quite a while now, a governance steering committee. And this is just a group of the larger departments that have a lot of IT functions. They meet on a very regular basis to look at different IT issues within the town. And Karen also talked a little bit about, if I could do anything I wanted with IT, what would I do? So they had a nice discussion about that. I gave the board an update on proposed fiscal 21 capital projects, and there were a couple of things that they said, we don't know if we want to do that. We'll hold it for further discussion. And there was one project that they decided not to proceed with for now.
What is it?
It is the roundabout at Bartlett and Surfside. This does not mean it will never happen, but what it means is that the board would like to focus on other priorities at this time and not so much that.
Is there any other rotaries that we can expect?
Well, there are some that are in the development phase. Four Corners, for example, at, let's see if I can remember the names, Atlantic, which then turns into Surfside, Prospect with the weird off-kilter intersection, and Sparks.
That one?
That's been under development for a while, and so I think they would prefer to focus on that for now. And that that's at the other end of the school area. It would take a little bit of the school property, but it would have no impact whatsoever on the big tree.
All right.
Not touching the tree at all. Okay. So we talked about some of that capital project stuff and the implications. The board had a bit of discussion about whether or not it should have more of a policy for appointments to certain boards, committees, and commissions. And it basically had to do with when applicants or committee members are involved in other community organizations, is there a conflict, and is there a perception of a conflict, and what should we do about it? So the board members maybe have been getting some input from others about this. Citizens, I guess. So they had a bit of a discussion about it, but in the end, they did not take action.
So why is that any different than the way they've been treating it anyway? I didn't understand what that was all about.
It was a little murky if you were watching and you didn't know what they were talking about.
It's as if, you got a guy who's a baker, so if something comes up with another bakery, he's going to recuse
or abstain.
And you got some real estate people.
But that's an elected board. That's the select board. They were talking about, let's pretend there was somebody on a different board that is appointed by the select board. When they make the appointment, should they be more detailed in finding out if the applicants have ties to other local organizations? If so, what are those ties? And if so, let us make sure that those ties do not end up in some kind of a conflict situation.
So that's definite.
So it basically turned out that, if the board is uncomfortable making an appointment, then don't make the appointment. If they're uncomfortable making a reappointment, then don't make a reappointment. But there are constitutional issues with, people applying to be on boards and getting on boards, and once they're on a board, how do they get off a board? So that's pretty much how it ended up.
All right.
Okay, next week's meeting, December 11th. Right at the moment, we are going to be reviewing our 2020 meeting schedule. The big item on next week's agenda is going to be the fiscal 21 general fund budget presentation. This is the annual town admin presentation to the board with our budget recommendations for next year. There was one other thing we had on there. I think I'm giving the board a monthly town management activities report, and we may be having a county commissioners meeting. Those are That's what's going on next week.
That's not a big meeting.
It's knock on wood, it's probably not a big meeting, but the budget would be the biggest thing. And leading up to the budget, I've spent this entire week and prior weeks on the budget. So it's kind of a big deal for town administration and the board, of course. But it doesn't leave a lot of room to work on a bunch of other agenda items. So the following week, we'll be back at it with a lot more items, including an update about the annual town meeting for 2020, which is
April 5th,
close.
2nd?
No, higher.
4th.
Yes.
Saturday.
April
I knew it was a
4th.
Saturday.
I know, okay.
Right.
Get that and drill that in.
Yeah.
Saturday, April 4th.
When's
Okay.
the election?
The election will be Tuesday, April 14th.
All right. That'll be interesting.
We are trying e-voting at the
Yes.
2020 annual town meeting.
Yeah.
Everybody will get a handheld device. You'll just vote yes or no.
I think you're going to see a lot more people coming.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Interesting.
They're going to want to try it. They're going to want to, it's going to be huge.
Wow, I wonder if we need another room. Set up
I
another room.
would-
Well, we
I would
typically set up the
plan on it.
high school audit
Sure.
gym
Yeah.
as a potential overflow. So
Yeah.
hopefully that'll work.
Yeah.
All right, Gino,
What do you got? Are you going to be like
Strolling?
hosting any of the house tours?
no.
Oh.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But I'm working at the church fair tomorrow, St. Mary's.
Oh, I'll
Stop
be there.
in.
I
You
will.
will?
Yeah. I'll be in.
I've baked something for the bake sale part, and I'm going to be working there
Awesome.
as well for a couple hours in the morning.
Good. for
And then I
you.
might walk around a bit, but you know what I need to prepare for? And I'm not the only one. December Delight. Next Saturday, December 14th, I happen to be the parent of a senior high school student, and there is a lot of work that the senior parents have to do. And I am almost done with my assignments, but there's a lot to it.
Now, tell people what December Delight is
Well,
about.
December Delight is a fundraiser for the senior class, and it's a big, huge event at the high school. And there's a bake sale, and there's kids' activities, and there's silent auction, and there's craft tables, and there's vendors
craft
in there, a
tables. Good
lot of
place to
craft,
get
a lot of
gifts.
food, great place to get gifts. There's tons of activities for kids. It's a huge event. And the senior parents are all expected to provide a number of items you have to bring in. We drop them off next week, but also work there. So there's you need to set aside that entire day to work at the December Delight. And the kids are all involved too. When I was in high school, I didn't remember this, we all had to come up with an activity or sign up for something that makes you part of it. So highly encourage people to go to it. You really can do a lot of your Christmas shopping at this thing. And there's a lot, the baked goods are amazing. You're probably going to want to go after a certain type of, I don't know, lemon poppy seed cake, which is unbelievable.
Huh.
You might want
to. That.
I don't know, but I mean,
I'm going to have to look for that one.
you might want to look for it. You will be amazed.
Well, how much are those going for?
Well, I don't really know because I
You
don't
said
know
this-
if if the bakers are supposed to put a price on there or if somebody else puts a price on there. So I guess I'll put a suggestion,
Yeah.
but I don't know how
Well,
much.
let me ask you this.
not-
How
I don't
many, over the years, this has become more and more popular every season,
I would
right?
think so.
So how many of these do they need to bake to have
You
enough
have to bake
supply?
5 things each
But they're going to go
per
like that,
family.
though. 5 things?
Yeah, like
So as soon as it
like
opens, if you
not
get
not
those,
one
it's
cookie. Big things.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Got
So
to plan on selling all that stuff.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, the more you make, the more they make for the
I
kids.
think so.
People buy it.
And then, or
Sure.
you just bring it home and just give
And
it to your neighbor.
Is it for a senior trip? Is that what it's for, or no?
It's just a senior fundraiser, but they probably could use it towards a trip or other senior things that they do. I'm trying to remember what we did back in the day with our money. We probably used it for a senior trip. Or other, you do other stuff as a class going forward. Your reunion,
Sure,
stuff like that.
sure.
Are you strolling?
Yeah, I'll do a little.
You're going to do a show on the strollers?
I think so.
It's going to be a little chilly tomorrow,
It is.
supposedly. It'd be cool if it snowed a little.
It'd be
I like
nice
that.
to see all the people. Of course it would.
Yeah.
Bring some snow in.
Bring some snow in.
Definitely.
Don't mention that to the DPW.
Yeah, well,
It's going to happen
you
at
bet.
some point,
It always does.
but we're ready if it does happen.
Well, your Christmas music sounds really nice.
I know, sorry about that, but it would look awkward
really
to
helps,
go turn it
doesn't it?
off. It does, it
Helps you
really
get you
helps.
through the day.
Totally, totally, especially on a Friday. Thank you very much. See you next time.